listener. This is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while giggling, snorting, or in this case, cry laughing. First up, we have a super special Heaving Bosoms birthday shout out. This goes out to the ultimate Queen of Pentacles, Holly. Happy birthday to the woman who does it all. From flourishing at work to hosting an excellent podcast to nurturing your King of Pentacles and sweet rascal Mac. You're a force to be reckoned with, and your friends, especially Esther, hope you have an absolutely amazing birthday week. And now, a Patreon shout out. Jennifer LB, you are descended from Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, architecture, and good order in all things. You may be an introvert, but you possess Hestia's inviting warmth down to your core. The hearth was the center of every household, and so too, you are the center and glue of your family. Your tender nurturing, balanced with your scorching wit, are irreplaceable. And Hestia would be beyond proud of how you wield the Dewey Decimal System. After all, what's more orderly than the miles of well-organized bookshelves you preside over? All right, let's dig into Fires of Winter by Johanna Lindsey. I would be remiss if I didn't reiterate the content warnings I listed in our trailer. We'll be talking about assault, sexual assault, slavery, and other incredibly uncomfortable, possibly triggering topics. Please take care and skip this episode if you need to. Here we go. Hi, Erin. Oh, boy.
You seem so happy.
You know what? I'm happy about a lot of things right now.
Yeah?
I am.
Are we going to do a gratitude board?
We are.
Okay.
Want to know what my, guess what, Erin? Guess what?
What?
You're getting married in 6 weeks.
Oof. Oof. I'm saying it to my face. I hate it.
I know.
I don't hate it. I just hate it.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm going to repeat what I said earlier because it's so true. And I think a lot of people are going to understand. About 6 to 8 weeks before my wedding is when I started spontaneously crying into Michael's crook. And I'm talking like heaving sobs. I'm talking like hiccuping, like crying. Uh-huh. And he was like, what is going on? Is the sky falling? Are we okay? And I managed to like get myself together and be like, I just wish we were getting married tomorrow. I'm just done planning. I hate it. I don't like it.
I just hate it. I just hate it. Just like, guys.
Yeah.
Everyone within the sound of my voice that's invited to my wedding, all three of you, just go on the fucking website. Just go on the website. Go on the website. It took a lot of time planning the website.
You did a good website.
Put a lot of helpful links.
Yeah.
Just go on the website. Go on the website. Tanya,
Absolutely.
Go on the website. Go on the website. Stop texting me.
Can I say that the gratitude thing I have is that I got myself a personal shopper for your wedding.
Uh-huh.
To get me an orange dress.
Tanya? Does Tanya understand what the color orange is?
Oh boy, does she. She's been doing such a great job, Erin.
Oh, good.
Periodically, I just have a dress arrive to my door and I try it on and I'm like, I'm sending it back. And she's like, okay, what's wrong with this one? And I'm just like, It's just not doing anything like fabulous. I'm the worst.
Does it need to do something fabulous?
I need to feel good at your wedding. Otherwise, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for me, I don't really care. It just has to be orange. Molly asked me if she could take a plain Broncos jersey and belt it. Oh. And I said, that's fine. As long as there's not a number on it, I need it to be plain orange. Orange, solid. Fine by me. Belt a Broncos jersey. Fine.
Fine. Yeah. So it's working out. I'm feeling good. Things are fine. Yes. That's my gratitude because I hate shopping. I especially hate shopping for myself. And I especially hate trying to either wrangle kids or worry about like putting my kids with a person while I go shop. I'm just bad at it. So it's been arriving at my door and it's amazing.
That's Great.
Thank you. Yeah.
I need shoes. I need to buy shoes.
Oh, yeah. I need shoes.
I need to pick 4 songs. I don't really listen to music. Don't know any songs.
Sure.
And as we said previously, David only listens to Latin pop. I feel like our guests are going to be confused if we only play Latin pop songs at the wedding.
There's a lot of, amor and stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy the Latin pop songs. I feel like people are going to be weirded out that neither of us are Latin in any form or fashion. What else do I need to do? I need to make my centerpieces not ugly. I'm not sure how to do that. I think I need
nobody cares.
I think I need to buy a moss. Find a moss.
Oh, a moss.
I'll send you some pictures. I think it needs moss.
Okay.
I'm so confused that I think something needs moss, Melody.
Yeah, honestly, as long as there's a number on the table so that I know where to go.
I just can't. I just can't. Sit where you want. I don't.
Oh, that's fine too.
I can't. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm going to do tables because I feel like every time I've been to a wedding where there aren't tables, it feels like, oh my God, am I going to sit at the cool table? Who are these people? I don't know a lot of people. And since like everybody's coming from different places and a lot of people don't know each other, I don't want people to feel awkward trying to like take a seat at the reception.
That makes sense.
I want to take the guesswork out of who's going to be friends because I know who's going to be friends. And
I also
know who needs to stay away from each other.
Yep, so. You need to know who needs to be on the opposite ends of the room.
Yep.
It's good stuff. Yeah, so I've got a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
I decided here's another thing, you guys. I took diligent notes after reading every single chapter on this book. God.
Speaking of people who need to stay the fuck away from each other, let's talk about this book.
Oh my God. Okay, all right. So first of all, like I'm going to do this in the front of it too. But like, guys, if you are at all triggered by sexual assault, like rape, just straight up, like all the colors of the rape spectrum, really, from casual to brutal to like all the stuff. It's just like it gives you a rainbow smorgasbord, and I'm already getting a little uncomfortable talking about it.
It's not because I feel like hopefully everyone, but I think every at least woman is a little triggered by sexual assault.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's a description of like brutal, like violent. It's not these descriptions where you're like, oh my God, that was so brutal, like we had in Eyes of Silver, Eyes of Gold. It's the opposite, where you're like, this is pretty brutal. Why aren't you reacting to this in a way that's, like, it's more of a, hey guys, you're getting raped, right? Like, I don't know how to say it. It's the casual treatment of the sexual assault, at least for me, that was skeezy. Mm-hmm. So if what you're like worried about is that the description is like this like violent thing and it's going to make your tummy turn and you're going to be like sad all day about it because the book was sad about it, don't you worry about that. You're just going to be lightly disturbed that like no one seems to care that they're getting raped in this book. Does that comport with your
that's certainly
feelings?
One facet. Yeah, but there are a couple of them in here that were descriptive enough that I wasn't super happy about it.
The fact that Melody said a couple of them should mean something to you.
So here's the thing, guys.
We're not laughing about.
Oh God,
we're laughing because we can't. It's like the sheer number of this is.
I'm so uncomfortable that I can't. I don't know what else to do with this energy.
This book contains 50 rapes. Maybe
okay, so here's the thing, guys. I think I sent a text to Erin this week that was like, listen, think about the amount of asterisk reasonable rapes. Like, what's a reasonable amount of rapes that you can have in a romance novel where two people apparently fall in love?
How many rapes would you be comfortable with in a romance novel? Like, the answer to that is 0. But then...
But a non-zero number. And then you have to, at the very least, triple it. Like, minimum triple it.
There is someone out there that this is their favorite book.
I'm sorry, guys. I will not yuck your yum. I will just tell it that it is not my yum. That's what I'm going to say.
But I think in the 80s, this is just what there was.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think about, there are people that like yearn for accuracy in historical books in a way that I have never understood.
A person that is like that.
Because I've never read historicals just as a rule, because I don't like to think about the smells and the accuracy of things. But to me, like, I don't think there was a lot of like romantic love between Vikings and the women they took as slaves. And I don't want to romanticize that. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. And the more accurate the book, the more I'm like, ew.
Well, that's the thing, right? I was reading this and I was like, man, I thought I really, really liked Vikings. I thought I did. I watched Vikings on the History Channel. I wanted to bone all of them. Mm-hmm. Like, just line them up and I'll bone them or something. Mm-hmm. But that's not... But I think the thing is, in shows like that, we get the depictions from the most powerful, right? Like, there were slaves around, but I only got the slave narrative where... you know, she chooses to be with all 3 brothers, and then one of them ends up marrying her, and, like, maybe they share her. I can't quite remember. But otherwise, it's, like, from the wife that gets left by the Viking. But she's never passed around to a Viking horde because they're wanting sex and she is a person with a vagina. I don't know. I guess there was that
would have happened. I mean, that's why it's, like, I don't know. I don't want historically accurate books.
I don't. I want modern times woke Vikings. I want cinnamon roll Vikings. I want them to do battle on the field, but then come home and be the most progressive dudes ever. And it's just, and I don't think that's, so this is, I think, maybe accurate.
I don't know that either. I
don't know that either. Yeah.
I feel like this relationship would have never happened in any situation.
Okay, we're 12 minutes in. I think we have to just... Oh, no! I started this rant. I'm sorry. I'm worried that we sound judgy. I'm trying... Yeah, I'm not judgy.
Like, I want to be nice to, like, classical romance novels. You know? Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to be nice to classic romance novels like Sarah McLean is. I want to be, and I don't understand it. I can't... It's because I didn't grow up on it. That's it.
That's true. There's no nostalgia for me. I didn't read Johanna Lindsey until now. And so I didn't read Jude Devereaux until now. And so, I can't help but look. So what I did was I read this book and I took diligent notes because I was not going to read it again. And then I said to myself, Self, you cannot bleach your brain, so you will do the next best thing. And I treated myself to both That Kind of Guy by Talia Hibbert and A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. And
Happy birthday,
I feel
Melody.
Fucking awesome.
Were they great?
They were so great. Interestingly, both of them involved demisexuals.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one is a demisexual and A Prince on Paper?
So, it's not confirmed, but somebody tweeted at Alyssa Cole being like, hey, is the heroine in this a demisexual? And Alyssa Cole was like, yeah. So
okay, so it's the girl in Prince on Paper. It's a
girl in A Prince on Paper, and it's the guy in That Kind of Guy. And can I just say that demisexual dude, crazy hot. So hot. He's so emotionally intelligent. Ooh. And, and A Prince on Paper was just horizons of excellence. Like, I can't even, it's just so good. So anyway, that's what I did to love life again.
See, what I did was I only read the first half of this book. Sorry, it's part 1. It has to be because I can't. And I just went real slow. I just chipped away at it like it was like I was cleaning the freezer of ice and like just slowly read a paragraph and then said, oof, and then put it down. Like picked it up and read another paragraph, trudging through this book.
Okay, so let's get started. This was originally published in 1980, and that's just what we're going to put out there. All right, chapter 1. Here's my note, because this is sad that this is the way I wrote this down, but this is sad. Loose lady invites stranger with rape in his heart into her home, hoping to catch a husband.
Yeah, so
that's how the book starts.
This is our little teaser. It's a little teaser.
There's a lady in town who wants a husband, but she hasn't been able to get one because she gives out her favors for free, it says.
Yeah, so she's 16. She sleeps with everybody in the village. And it's from his perspective. So he's like lecherously being like, ha ha ha, invite me to your house and I will lock the door and rape you. And she's like, tee hee hee, I'll invite you to my house and maybe you'll lock the door and rape me and I'll keep you as a husband.
No,
it's kind of like that.
Not. She thinks she's going to give him food and offer it, like her dad's going to come home and offer him work. He's going to hang around and eventually she'll make him her husband. But she actually says in here, I'm not going to give my favors away for free because I haven't gotten a husband like that yet.
Yes. The quote that really made me go, yeah, was she had little chance of finding a husband among her own people, for all those who were eligible had already tried her charms, and though they did not find her lacking, neither would they take her to wife, knowing that their friends had also tasted of her.
Blurga.
Enid.
So I did not write down her name because I had a feeling she was never going to come back. And guess what, guys? She never comes back.
Bullshit. She's there the whole time. # justice for Enid.
No, but she never, ever gets spoken of or referred to again. We know that she gets raped in the beginning and that she gets kidnapped with everyone else. Yeah. Never a mention after that. That's it.
And that's part of my problem with these women in these novels is like... What was the chick's name in Shades of Vampires?
I don't know. I don't need to
remember. It was like
Bella. It was Bella.
No, that's the author's name. I don't remember her name. But like her and Douglas and like this bitch, like none of them give a shit about like other people are slaves. Like he might like you, but like there are other people like your friends and family who are like enslaved by this guy. Do you not give a shit? Like, because Brenna, our heroine is Brenna. She walks in and super saves Enid for, but you know, she barges in and tries to do the right thing here in this moment, but like gives zero fucks about her for the whole rest of the book. Well, I just can't. Okay,
so anyway, all right. So here's what happens. We get an up close and personal, like knife to the throat look at a rape. Like you get some description of that. It's a happening. And then it switches perspectives to this person who fell off a horse and is like limping to the village or whatever. The person gets wind that
the author cleverly calls her the youth. So we assume it's a boy.
So the youth in the pants finds out that Enid took a stranger to her cottage, and she's like, hold on, Enid gives her favors away a lot, but never for free, or maybe never to people she doesn't know. I don't remember what the reasoning is.
Never to people she doesn't know. And like what was weird to Brenna was that the door was closed, or like that the rock was rolled over the door. This is Viking Times.
It's Viking Times.
And so she was like, Enid never has sex alone with the door closed with a stranger.
So she goes in, and there's a guy doing a rape, and so she takes her lady-sized sword and with a youth sword, and so she swooshes it right over his butt parts. He starts bleeding. He gets real mad. He tries to fight her. Everybody's like, this person's gonna kill you, and he's like, no, I am big and strong. And so he tries to get up in there. It doesn't work. And then the youth is like, okay, so can I kill him now? And Enid is like, no, my last shot at a husband just raped me, so I need him alive.
See, that's the thing. It's a description of this rape, but then it's like, Enid. Like, she's just kind of like, oh, well, I had hoped for a husband, but I guess I'm getting raped, so I guess I'll just lay here and get raped. And I'm not faulting Enid. I'm just saying, like, God, that description was like just sad.
It's
and
tragic.
Then for her to afterwards just be like, I do still want him as a husband, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep.
Oof.
So anyway, Brenna's like, if I can't kill him, then will you take him to husband? And she's like, yeah, I will. So as the youth is leaving, the dude's like, your dad raised a good son or whatever. And she's like, my father has no son. Dun, dun, dun. Ha, ha, ha. He was bested by a lady. That's the punchline.
Yeah, it just seemed like, so she was like dancing around and like swooshing at him and stuff. And it just seemed like a very like tee-hee-hee, like, I don't know, like some kind of like imp or like some kind of mythical creature being like, I don't know, just like bouncing around and like swooshing the sword. And then it was like, ye were bested by a lady. Like scampering off.
It's
like,
so true.
What? This is our heroine? I do not like her.
Well, so my first note is, this better fucking pay off, because really, page 1, we got a rape, okay? And I like that she's kind of feminist, and she's like, she can give her favors away, but only if she chooses to, like, I like that there's no judgment from her about that, but it does not pay off.
But at the same time, one of the plot points in this book is that Brenna's sister Cordella is constantly telling Brenna how much sex is terrible and how it hurts so bad. She has reasons, we'll get to them. But, like, also Brenna knows that Enid's out there slutting it up with every guy in town, knowing it's ruining her chances at getting a husband. So what does Brenna think Enid's about?
If it was, like, excruciatingly painful, WTF? Why would she do that? I don't know. Yeah, anyway, no. Brenna makes no sense. Brenna does not... Brenna's not really capable of critical thinking.
No, and also she's a bitch like Douglas.
Also,
I can't wait. I hate
such
her.
A B word. Yeah. Okay, so she has to take Norse lessons because a while ago, her dad was like, man, these Vikings are all up in our business all the time. They're always raiding and pillaging and burning and raping and stealing. And so I want to make an alliance with these brutes.
Okay, so Brenna's dad is like the mayor
He's
of
the lord of the manor.
The manor above the village, and he protects the village. They're the rich people in town that are in the house up on the hill, and the town is in Scotland, Celtic times.
Sure,
is it?
It's in pre-medieval England times.
Sure. Yeah, listen, we're in medieval times.
But it's Viking
She's
times.
a Celt. It's Viking times / medieval times. She's
we're in
a Celt.
Celtic times.
Celtic times.
There we go.
But she's one of the rich ones. She's a rich Celt up on a hill over
she's
a village.
She's the one with the jewels on her belt and stuff.
Yeah, and on the hilt of her sword.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So her dad is like, the way that we can protect ourselves is to make an alliance, and the best way to do that is if I hand my daughter over to one of them in marriage.
Yes.
So he sends an emissary into the Viking lands, and the Viking emissary comes back and he's like, found her a husband. It's great. He's like the second son of a chief over there. And so we're going to get her Vikinged ASAP. We just have to wait for him to stop on his Viking trading mission. And when he's back, he'll come and scoop her up and take her to marriage.
Yes.
And Brenna is real pissed about this. Brenna's like, how fucking dare you? You've raised me as a boy my whole life. Like, I shouldn't. How dare you treat me like a lady? You've always treated me as a boy. And now I'm just like a pawn to be bartered. And her dad's like, yeah, sweetie, you have a vagina,
Have you not learned anything else from 850 AD? Like, look the fuck around. She's such a brat.
She's pretty entitled.
I mean, you have a right to be upset if you're married off to a Viking chieftain, whatever. Like, I get it. But, like, the one thing I don't understand about Brenna, and she's unable to, like, look around and not be, like, so fucking entitled to, like, you know what I mean? She's like, not me, not Brenna. And it's like, every other woman, as far as you can see, is married off to some fuck that they don't like. Like, you just married somebody off to some fuck she didn't like this morning, Brenna. Like, what? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. So she's like taking Norse lessons. She's learning the language. She's learning the mythology. She's learning all the shit because they've got a guy who used to be a Viking and now he's not.
And he's such a nice old Norwegian man.
Yeah, he is.
Can't wait to teach her all the things so that she can go for her new life in Viking land.
With her merchant prince. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, her stepsister has always been super jealous of Brenna.
Wait, I have another point to make. Sorry.
What's up? Tell me everything.
When the dad said, hey, you're going to be married off to this Viking, I promised him one of my daughters. Do you know what she said?
Why didn't you give her Cordella?
Fair. Yes, that happened. But also, another can take my place. We could dress up a slave or a servant girl as me and give her to the Vikings.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
No, she is not kidding. That's the best part.
Yeah, I know. What a bitch. Are you kidding?
Amazing. Amazing.
God.
Like, no
This
self-awareness
woman would, like,
at
never
all.
volunteer as tribute, like, in a million years.
Are you kidding? That's what other people are for. Hello?
Not my heroine. Not my
Okay.
heroine.
Hashtag not my heroine. Okay.
Hashtag not my heroine.
So, her
Hashtag justice for
stepsister.
Enid.
Her stepsister is such a bitch. Like, maybe even worse, but not. Like, I don't even know. She's worse in a different way. She's just bad in a different way.
Sorry, you can edit out that sound that I just made. Yeah, she's a different kind of bitch, but I hate Brenna more than Cordella. Because once they get to Viking Town, Brenna's way worse than Cordella, I think.
Fair. Okay, so Cordella has a husband, and Brenna was raised like basically as her father's son because he always wanted a boy and he never got one. So she was always allowed to wear pants and study swords and do the things. And so she meets Cordella, and Cordella's like, for the first month I lived in this house, I thought I had a brother, not a sister. Like, a brother named Brenna. Cordella, also not capable of critical thinking.
Yeah.
But, so, then she's like...
not capable of critical thinking. It's just such a artful way of saying too stupid to live. But anyway, this heroine is not capable of critical thinking.
So she marries this dude, and she's like happy for like a year. And then they start dressing Brenna up in dresses because they're like, lady, it's time. Like, it's time. And he sees how beautiful Brenna is because guess what, you guys? She's the ravenous-haired goddess. With the flaxen
perfectly shaped breasts appear like 15 times.
I don't know how a breast can be perfectly shaped. She's so creamy,
She's very creamy.
She's got planes in the right places and curves in the other places. It's a whole thing.
At least we don't have to read the word strawberry creams ever again. Like, I believe that appears in no other books except for that one that we read. But, like, creamy grosses me out to my core.
Okay, so then her husband starts lusting after Brenna. And because she is just the best, she's like, I'm not mad at my husband. I am mad at this bitch. For just, like, existing in a way that is prettier than me, maybe.
Right.
So she convinces her that the marriage bed is a torture chamber, and Brenna is, like, should be terrified. And she should especially be terrified with, like, her own folk, but with, like, the brutal Viking lords, then, like, let's
even
ramp
more
up the terror.
Yeah. So in this, like, discussion, this is said. Brenna was a skilled fighter thanks to her father, and when riled, she turned Cordella's blood cold. She had killed men without batting an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these men?
Where was the battle? Was she taken to battle?
I don't know.
Maybe they're all rapists?
But, like, without batting an eye? So, like, just to see him, like, did she kill a man in Reno just to watch him die? Like, did they do anything wrong?
I mean, she is 19.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, you grow up at 12 there.
Yeah, but she wasn't there for the Viking raid. Like, who are these dudes? She clearly doesn't kill rapists. She's like, and ye will marry. Like,
no,
I don't...
She tried. She was like, all right, Enid, I'm going to kill him now. And Enid was like, ugh, he is marriageable still. And she was like, all right, well, if you're not going to let me kill him. Yeah, maybe she just killed rapists.
It deserved a little more explanation about who are all these men Brenna has murdered.
I know. Especially since she becomes incapable of murder once she goes to Viking land.
Because you know I can forgive a murderer.
I know, if they got reasons.
If they got reasons. And I just don't know that Brenna has got reason. It just sounds like she thinks it's fun to be like, tee-hee-hee, here's a murder, stab, stab, hab.
Look at my eyes. They're not batting at all.
I was a girl the whole time. Ye were bested by a woman.
Okay, so, all right, so then we meet Garrick. He's been traveling, doing some trades, and he's a Viking. Okay, and then my next note is, I always conveniently forget how much slaving they did,
Yeah, here's the thing. It's not like, blah, 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 he's a Viking. It's like, they describe all the horrible shit he does. It's just like, Garrick had to go over here and do some raiding, do some pillaging, do some raping over here. Then he's got, it's described like he has all these chores. Like, oh, I know. God, I had to pillage. God. Now I've got to go drop off all these, I got all these slaves now.
Right. I got to sell them. Jeez.
And then there's this boat. We came across this boat, and then there was like a lady there, and like she was the only one left alive. So then we had to like take her back to her dad.
Baby.
Yeah,
jeez.
And she had a baby.
We thought about just like leaving her. We thought about raping her. We thought about killing her. But then we were like, we're going to have to come through this land again. We don't want to make more enemies. So like, let's take this stupid lady and her baby.
Daughter, the baby. God, like I didn't even get to rape her, and she was the only one left alive. Can you believe this situation? So they found this woman on a boat, the only one left alive on a boat. And it turns out that this boat was raided by a different clan or whatever.
Right.
Specifically to murder her and the baby.
Yeah.
There was really no explanation as to why. I guess they hate her dad or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they killed everyone on their boat except for her and that baby.
And did not manage to kill an infant.
Yeah. What kind of clan are you guys?
You guys are real bad at this.
You're not bad. You're not good at this. You're pretty bad at it.
No. So anyway,
all right.
We meet him. He's doing some things.
Slavery. Slave ownership.
So many slaveries.
Yes.
Okay, so he had his heart broken by his BFF sister. And then one of the scenes we inexplicably see, it never comes back again, is that he made a coin.
That
with
never
a Viking
comes
ship.
back?
Never comes back.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, God damn it. I forgot. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. It never fucking comes back. We see it for no reason.
That's the opposite of a spoiler. That's like a...
Yeah,
what would be the opposite of... Still fresh, because it never comes back. I don't know what a spoiler, like the opposite of a spoiler is, but like it doesn't happen isn't a spoiler. God damn it. I thought, because during this scene, I wrote, this book is the herbsiest book I've ever read. Because it was just like, it was like 16 pages of just him being like, and then I dropped off a slave, and then I had to thank Loki for this, and then a blah, 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 Thor, and then the waves were crashing on the shmur. Then I got an engraving done.
Get focused. What we do find out through this commemorative coin that never comes back is that...
a very special commemorative coin.
Is that you put a Viking ship on one side and then a bitch's face on the other.
$29.99. You can get the special commemorative coin. What's on one side? A Viking ship?
Yep. The other side is Morna's face, because Morna broke his heart. All she did, you guys, was not marry him. That's literally all she did. She flirted with him a tiny bit, and then she was like, there's this other guy I really want to marry. Like, and so she fucked off.
Richer and better.
Totally. She had her reasons. I don't give a shit what the reasons are. She just didn't marry
they were like,
this dude.
She chose wealth over love. And it's like, okay.
Great.
Yeah, good for you, Morna.
Sounds probably like a good idea.
Get out of Viking Town.
Loves raping
Sounds
so
real cold.
Much.
Yeah.
Oh, and he makes the coin to remind him that no woman can ever be trusted. So, guys, her dad dies. It's sad.
Brenna's dad. Brenna's
dad dies.
He's been like a little bit sick, and she's been like kind of ignoring him.
Just not even, because he didn't tell her like how sick, I guess. Anyway.
But like, if your dad is bedridden, is Lynette
Wouldn't you assume?
Aunt? Lynette?
Yeah, Lynette.
Lynette, there you go.
I said Lynette.
So she's got an Aunt Lynette who's like always up spoon feeding her dad because he got a little sick. And
oh yeah, you'd think it might be a little bit more serious, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so Lynette's
not
like
capable of critical thinking.
Yeah. She's like, hey Brenna, hey Cordella, do you guys want to go like hang out with your dad? And they're like, nah, it's not that bad. He said he wasn't that bad, so we're not going to go hang out with him. It's like, still go hang out with your dad. He's like bedridden. Like, even if he's just like got a twisted ankle, like go hang out with him a little bit.
Yeah, don't you think you would be bored in Viking times, in Celtic times?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do up there, you guys.
No.
Bring him some cards.
Like, I don't even know if
Jeez.
there's books. Probably not. He's just
I don't think
reading Bibles.
the printing press was a thing yet. So yeah, you had to get a monk to write things down over and over again.
He's reading a handwritten monk Bible.
Whew.
Go hang out with your dad.
All right. So, actually, my note is her dad dies. Everyone is a sociopath about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that she has never cried before.
Well, I herbs that.
Apparently ever? Like, even as a toddler, ? I don't know. And then she's like, oh, good. Thank Christ. Now we can dress up that servant girl and send her to marry the Viking, or like just tell him no.
Yep.
And Lynette's like, they were your dad's last wishes. And she's like, harumph.
Yeah.
So at the funeral, some guy rides up and he's like, your Viking has come on a ship and he is coming to get you.
He's coming.
And so they go home and they get ready. They're standing in the waiting area of their castle.
They tell the villagers, everybody go back to your homes. Don't worry about these Vikings.
It's totally
They're
fine.
cool. They're not attacking. They're just coming to grab Brenna. And then they're going back to Viking Town. Oof.
Guys, the Vikings are definitely attacking.
These Vikings are assholes.
They're such assholes.
I was just so... This...
Mystified.
Such assholes. I can't even.
So, what happened was, the leader, Anselm the Eager, which is that Come on, everybody. Like, he just can't wait to come, right? Like,
I can't.
he just
I can't
has
remember
no
why
stamina.
he's actually
Is that
called
a nice way of saying
Anselm
that?
the Eager.
Because he has no
like
stamina.
murder his brother so he could be king or something? What?
Nope. All the slaves started talking, and they were like, he's like 2 pumps and a shudder.
This is not the book.
Eager.
This is not
so
the book.
eager. No, that's my
This
fanfic.
is a melody special.
Definitely.
But it could be... He was like, I forget, he like
I think he,
murdered
like,
somebody
killed
so
his
he could
dad or
have
something.
something before like he was actually... Yeah, I think he like killed his dad or something so he
to
could
be
inherit
the
earlier.
chieftain? I don't fucking know.
This
Anyway,
guy blows. He sucks
he
and blows.
sucks. Yeah, he does. So, he decided that instead of doing the marriage thing, he was like, this fucking emissary came over here. He told me, he basically like gave us his GPS coordinates.
Yeah.
He was like, the treasure is in this room of the manor. Like, just come and get it, you know? Like, also, instead of just taking one of our bitches, why don't you take them all?
Yeah, they're just
Great
like, what
idea.
an idiot trying to make a treaty with us and promising his daughter. Like, sure, yeah, we'll shake on that. Wink. We have no honor.
Wink, wink, wink.
We be Vikings.
He has honor amongst Vikings, but these are not Vikings. They are Celts.
That's bullshit.
Apparently, it's like a revenge plot that doesn't matter.
You guys, bing boom bong, honor with Aaron.
Ooh, nobility with Aaron.
You can't just have honor amongst your Vikings. You gotta have honor for always. That's all. Integrity with Aaron. There you go. This is a little life lesson for today. I was just like so upset by this. I was like, actually,
I had a
very
feeling
upset by this.
Yeah, that you were just like, ooh.
I honestly thought they might be confused. I'm like, is this a different Viking clan?
Or did they think they like went a village to like one more
Are they
over?
in the wrong village? You know?
No.
Like, no.
Yeah,
no.
I thought the same thing. Yep.
I don't like historical accuracy. I don't like it.
So anyway, they do a bunch of killing and they do a bunch of raping. Like literally, she hears her aunt and her stepsister raped in the next room while she's fighting with swords.
Yes.
She wounds one of the Vikings.
Yes.
And then she's finally bested by Anselm, who cuts her sword in half. Like that is quite impressive.
This is very.
It is
impressive.
like a youth sword.
However, that's the problem. Is like, did your dad teach you how to be a fight person? Because it seems like your sword can be cut in half with another sword. So, like, for all her, like, I am such a fighter and I am a we're not, this is not Brienne of Tarth, you guys. This is this is just like a 17-year-old girl who likes swooshing, you know?
This is also not Arya.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the book would have us believe that she's like this skilled fighter, but like,
she's not.
It's a lot of tell and not a lot of show because every time she does any fighting, it's very minimal.
So anyway, then they kill her servant And that's when she breaks down into sobs because the serpent has basically been her whole mother her whole life or whatever.
They kill her with like a fucking axe in the back.
Axe to the back, bitches.
Of the stairs, and then she like
Axe
rolls
to the
down
back.
the stairs in a pool
Throwing
of her
axe.
blood, screaming.
Amazing.
And then the woman who has never cried or shown emotion and is the strongest. And again, I'm not faulting Brenna, but there's been a lot of tell here, and the show is when
that she goes hysterical
servant,
and
yeah, she starts banging on her ears with her own fists and just screaming, and then just like completely blacks out when she sees. Which again, fine, totally fine, not faulting Brenna. However, the book wants us to believe that she's like this stony warrior, but she sees like somebody killed and she like loses her shit psychotically.
The book would have us believe that she kills men without batting an eye.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So then they knock her out because they're just like, we cannot listen to these shrill cries.
Okay.
Jesus.
You're not a warrior if somebody's just like, oh my God, stop screaming. Whomp, come back. It's just not. Sorry.
Oh, and before this happens, the dude finds out that this is the Brenna that was going to marry his son. And so Anselm the Eager is like, oh man, I kind of like her spunk, you know? Mm-hmm. It's really cute the way that she fought us.
Adorable.
Like that. Mm-hmm. Man. So he rounds everybody up. She does not wake up until they are on the ocean. Everybody, it says that everybody has been raped. Some of the women several times.
Here,
That's just, yeah.
All of the women had been raped, comma, some many times, comma, save for Brenna, parentheses, of course, that's just me.
Of course, yep.
Who remained unconscious from the blow Anselm dealt her until the ship sailed. Hey, Brenna. Unconsciousness is not going to matter to these Vikings. So, like,
it's really not.
Maybe, baby girl, you were raped too. Just because you were out does not mean these guys didn't go after you.
No, this is from Anselm's perspective. He knows.
Oh, was it? Okay.
He kept everybody away from her. Yeah.
All right. And so there were 7 prisoners, Lynette and Cordella, the sister. So the aunt and the sister among them. Also Enid the slut, who I guess we never see again.
Never. We just find out that who I wrote down in my notes as Loose Lady, because that's her only characteristic.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It bothers me that, like, Brenna seems to be totally aware that everyone else is having a much more hellish experience than her on this boat.
Yep.
And is in this, like, totally selfish, catatonic state where she's just, like, staring ahead, refusing to speak to anyone. And Lynette's trying to comfort her and be like, it's okay. And she cannot bring herself to be nice to anyone else in their little slave party. And it's not because what's-her-fuck was stabbed in the back, and it's not because the whole village got raided or whatever. It's because she was bested in battle.
Yeah, and because, like, she couldn't protect her people. She's just like, I was supposed to do this single-handedly, and so as a result, I am not going to offer a word of comfort to any of the women around me.
Yeah.
At all. It's incredible. So actually so then we go, there's a little montage. It's a little traveling montage. Do you want to hear my
traveling
my paraphrasing?
Sure.
Yeah, wait. Here's my paraphrasing. Or maybe it's so here's my paraphrasing. The note before it is, I'm super over all the raping, because they basically say they sailed and then they stopped to rape. Then they sailed some more, and then they had another overnight that the women hated. Like, that's an actual thing that Anselm says. He's like, and then we had one of those overnights that all the women dreaded, because that's when we got our rape on. and then they sailed some more. Not Brenna, though. She's special.
Even though her breasts are perfect and so creamy.
They're perfectly globular or something.
Yep.
Globular.
Perfectly globular.
So
can't wait.
All right. And then Anselm says to himself, he's so sad to see Brenna crumble. And he keeps his men away from her to save her virginity, maybe for his son. She's intent on killing him. And Cordella is happy she's being raped more than Brenna. Shrug emoji is my note.
Yeah, the reactions are so super weird.
Yeah, Cordella's just like, I mean, she might be prettier back in our land, but I'm obviously prettier to the Vikings because nobody's touched her, and they have been all up in me.
Yeah.
Like, incredible.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
And the idea that Cordella hates Brenna. Hates Brenna
her so much.
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
My next note is, holy shit balls, Batman.
This sentence, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She would not speak to her companions or listen to their fearful wailings.
Nope. Refused.
I just like that at night they're all fearfully wailing and Brenna's just like, la 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 la. Oh my God, they're so loud over there with their fearful wailings. Ugh. Anyway, holy shit balls, Batman.
Heroin.
You said?
Yes. My next note is, holy shit balls, Batman. We meet older brother Hugh. He's a treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants Brenna from description because Hugh and Anselm talk about this feuding clan, this clan they've got a beef with who's like across the fjord. And so they're talking about that, and then he's like, oh yeah, also I brought that bitch that Garrick was supposed to marry. I'm pretty sure I'm going to give her to him anyway. And he was like, tell me what she looks like again. And he tells him, and then he's like, oh yeah, and she's like super fiery, and she's a fighter. And it's a whole thing. And Hugh says to him, I want that one. We're not going to give her to Garrick.
Because you seen her perfect circular breasts. I would like her for myself.
No, it's more than that. What he says is, I've got such a mellow wife. And all of my slaves are.
I forgot. I highlighted it so hard.
Didn't you?
My God. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's so fucked. Okay.
He says, I want her. And Anselm the Eager is like, what? He says, I said I want her, Hugh replied. Garrick hates women, because of Morna or whatever. And you have Heloise. My wife is timid, as are my slaves. I want a woman with spirit. And it made me so mad because it's like his slaves are probably like, what the fuck do you want? Like, we're slaves. Like, what? Now you want us to act spirited when you rape us? Like, Jesus Christ.
Now you want us to fight back after you've beaten us to a pulp because we fought back?
We're slaves, man.
Pardon me? I'm sorry. Do you want me to pull up my rape menu for you so that you can choose my personality as you're raping?
Like, which kind of slave would you like to rape tonight? A submissive one? Or like, it bothered me so much. It's like, well, maybe if you want a quote unquote spirited fucking woman, maybe don't go for your slaves that you own.
Yeah. Maybe.
Also, the descriptions of his plump wife over and over and over. Did you realize that Hugh's wife is plump?
Did I? Oh yeah, she's a little bit.
Have a name even? Hugh's plump wife.
Heloise?
She's so plump, sitting there at the feast over and over and over. Every time we see her,
yeah, she's
plump every time.
And at a feast,
like she's feasting for her plumpness.
God,
but like I kind of like Hugh's wife is goals because like she doesn't have to fuck him. It sounds like. And, like, she's just sitting there getting plump at the feast. So, like...
Yeah, I'm into it.
If anyone's winning in this book, it's Hugh's wife.
I know. Poor thing. Okay, so Anselm is like, I'm going to give her to Garrick. But they still get trotted out in front of Hugh because Hugh technically gets first choice because he's first son. So, like, cool. He goes up to Brenna.
Smooch on her.
He goes up and he does a grope and he does a smooch. And she tries to bite his tongue off, which I thought was great. So then he chooses Cordella instead, and Della's like, unce. And then
Heloise.
we get... Oh, and then Mama Viking. I don't know her name, because her name is Mama Viking in my notes.
Okay, Mama Viking, who's the wife of Anselm the Eager.
She was an arranged Christian marriage.
Yes. Yeah. That one worked out. Anselm.
Yeah, what the fuck, Anselm?
Anselm?
You're married to a Celt.
You're married to this day. You have to why did you have to do the pillage?
Mama Viking is not a Viking. She's a fucking Celt.
Yeah, anyway. So she speaks their language. So she goes up to them and is like, hey, ladies, they don't speak English or whatever. So, like, are you guys good? Let's do, like, a little powwow here. What's up?
Little powwow. And my paraphrase is, I hate slavery, but my husband loves it. And it's also super convenient. So, like...
Yeah, sorry. I can't do anything about it, but would you like to tell me all, like, your secrets and, like, all your, like, deepest desires and stuff? I'm not going to do anything about it. But I will offer you my comforting words. And here are some of her comforting words. Are we slaves then? Cordella asks in a haughty tone. Although she had little to be arrogant about. God, Brenna's voice is so fucking terrible. Heloise raised a brow in Cordella's direction. You lost your rights when you were captured. I'm surprised you need to ask the question. Did you think you would be brought here and set free, given homes and property? Nay, you are the property. You will belong to your husband or whoever we choose to give you to. I do not particularly like the term slave. I prefer servant, no different than what you must have had in your own land. Our servants were free, Cordella snapped. You may have called them free, but in truth, they were not. And you, my girl, had best learn your place quickly, or 'twill not go well for you. So that's Heloise's whole thing. She's like, I'm the nice one, but also here's some hard truths for you in your face that you can't change.
Mama Viking does not, she doesn't suffer fools, and she will give it to you straight all the time. And I appreciated that about her.
Yeah, a little bit. But like her giving it straight about the servants back in Kelt Town?
Sure.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just like, why don't you disabuse yourself of your ridiculous illusions and come back to reality? It's much harsher now that you're in your servant's place, but I think you can do it. All right, so then Lynette has absolutely no chill. Lynette is like, oh my gosh, what I really need right now are just the comforting words. So she tells all of Brenna's business to Mama Viking. She's just like, this bitch has not spoken. I'm a little bit worried about her. She's usually real spirited. This is the one that your son was going to marry, I guess. And like, oh, that's a little harsh now. And Mama Viking is like, Lynette, girl, we're going to be such good friends. And like, I'm not even going to be mad when my husband rapes you. Like slumber party, you know?
Yeah.
It's really good. And Lynette's like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And she really, from her perspective, she's like, back home, I was just a dried up spinster widow. She was a widow.
Yeah.
And like, I never had me a man. But now
I'm sexual.
Yeah.
You guys, it is a nightmare scape. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're just reading this like, Lynette, girl,
Lynette, honey, babe.
You don't need to get raped by Anselm to feel good about yourself. Treat yourself. Go out shopping or something. You don't need Anselm rape. No, she's a slave now.
No, and especially since her only two friends were Brenna and Cordella back home. Mama Viking is a breath of fucking fresh air.
Yeah, you're right.
Jesus.
Poor
I don't care if my husband rapes you. Thanks, BFF. Thanks. Yeah, I won't be jealous when my husband rapes you. That's lady love.
Yeah, but Cordella would. If her husband went and raped Lynette, she would be like, you harlot.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so now she's taken to Garrick's stone house. I don't know why this matters, but it's built in the Scottish fashion and not in the Viking fashion.
Who the fuck cares? We get 4 pages of descriptions of like getting to this house and like the rowing and the whatever. And Ogden's going on and on about how great Garrick is because he gives him the food and like...
And we never see Ogden again, ever.
No.
We get so much of his inner monologue about how he's pissed that she wounded his brother.
Right.
But never fucking see him again.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk of polar bears and fishing and stuff. Listen to this little paragraph.
Ooh, yes, please.
Although Garrick was not a farmer, he allowed his slaves to grow small quantities of produce. Thence the onions and peas that graced his table, rye for bread and barley for the honey mead consumed nightly.
Did he allow them?
Thank you, Garrick, for allowing us to farm to give you your fucking food that they probably don't even get to eat. God damn it. Garrick was no farmer, but he said, go ahead, slaves. If it pleases you guys, would you mind growing a fuck ton of vegetables for me? God.
I give you my benevolent permission.
Yeah.
All right, so then here's what happens. We meet the housekeeper, Yarmil. And Yarmil is one of...
Is that the name? Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't fucking know.
My brain just said the one that started with the Y, and like, but to hear it out loud, Yarmil. It's just...
it's Y-A-R-M-I-L-L-E, correct?
Maybe it's like Yarmile.
It's not. No. They're not in España.
Yarmile!
Nope. Yarmil over here.
Yarmil
is the housekeeper. She is one of Anselm's former concubines. She's a free woman who fucked Anselm the Eager. She got that 2 pumps and a shutter special.
Is she
he
not
was so eager.
Garrick's mom?
Nah, man. Mama Viking is Garrick's mom.
No.
Yes, bitch. She is the mom. It is important. She is the mom.
But I thought Garrick was a
the
bastard
son.
Yeah.
No, dude. No, he's the second son. Bastard son is somebody who we see in like the shadows of a couple of scenes.
What about that whole conversation where the guy was like, Ansel, why do you care about him? He's a bastard. I thought they were talking about Garrick. They were talking about some other dude?
No.
God.
They were talking about a third son who we never really see.
Oh my God. The herb thing is so hard in this book because there's just like so much shit that is dropped and never comes back. So you you assume that they're talking about somebody you know. Ugh.
Important?
God.
No, we're not.
All right. Sorry.
Okay, so Yarmul is, she has a bastard son who we never really see. All we know is that Hugh hates bastard son. Garrick loves bastard son. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But this is like a family saga, so they're probably the heroes in other books.
Wow, do I not care?
Yeah. Never gonna read those.
So then, Ogden is like, this one's a fighter, so like you should probably like tie her up or something maybe? I don't really know. She likes knives. That's all I really know. And Yarmul's like, yeah, I'm going to tie her to a bed for a week. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Ties her to a bed for a week. And then Mama Viking comes to check. And she's like, I'm sorry, you treat my son's property like this? Like, how do you think that's going to go over?
Yeah.
And Yarmul's like, fuck, man, I don't have any fighting skills, but like, fine. So she promises that she's going to let Brenna out after like that night.
But like, okay, you're tied to a bed with rope.
Sure.
Alone in the room for a week.
Yeah.
You're a warrior. You know,
no, she is not.
You're a fiery, feisty.
You are supposedly
you'll do anything
a warrior
for your fucking freedom and everything.
I have heard you are scrappy.
Yeah, you don't like gnaw through that rope,
no.
And then it's just rope. Like
no, she just she gets really, really upset that they only feed her in the morning and at night. And that there's no light in the room. That's what she just pouts all week. And she won't talk to anybody. She's still catatonic. By choice. She's not actually catatonic.
I feel like she could have broken that headboard or done something over the course of a week. But whatever. Okay.
Somebody scrappy certainly could.
Yes. Then she could have taken
she's also really
piece of the headboard
the
that she broke, and she could have swung it around on the rope and like knocked people out.
Yeah.
That's what a warrior would do.
She could have made herself a makeshift mace.
Yeah.
But no, instead she just abuses the other slave that is forced to feed her. Right. It's really good.
Yeah.
So then, Brenna finally speaks in English when Mama Viking comes, and she's like, I can't promise that I'm going to behave, and I'm probably going to slit everyone's throat, starting with your son.
Great strategy,
and Mama
Brenna.
Viking's like, chill, dude. Like, it's not going to happen. Just chill. And then she vows to plan her escape. All right. So then,
boy, does she vow to. Remember this, guys. She vows to plan her escape. They untie her, and they're just like, you can just fuck off to wherever now. We're going to watch you kind of. Don't make us lock the door, okay, Brenna? Yeah. And then she's like, okay, but I vow the first chance I get, I will escape. And then she like just does it.
No, she vows to plan her escape.
Oh,
she does not actually vow to escape.
Well, she doesn't do that either.
So, conveniently, he comes home the night she is untied.
Mm-hmm.
She is still in bed, and all of his Vikings are all over his house because they're gonna do some feasting the next day, but that doesn't really matter yet. So he goes into his room. He sees a small, childlike, he calls her childlike.
Yeah.
Ugh. She's in the fetal position.
Because she's
and
17.
He's like, I know, she's tiny. I know. She's a baby.
She's a youth.
Maybe she's 19? Maybe?
No, she's 17.
All right. So he finds Brenna in his bed. He goes into Yarmul's room, and he's like, shakes her awake, and he's like, why is there a bitch in my bed? And Yarmul's like, your mom and dad gave her to you. And then, so there's that. And I put her in there because she is a feisty one, we've heard. She's not shown us that, but we've heard. So then, he goes back into his room, and he sees her raven locks on the bed.
Creamy.
And then he starts undressing.
Creamy skin.
Yeah, all of her creamy skin.
And she wakes up, and guys, Vikings murdered everyone she knows in the most horrible way.
Just yesterday.
Raped all her friends.
In front of her. Yeah. So many times. Like, multiple times a night. Every time they stopped.
She's currently prisoner of this house.
Oh, yeah. She's got rope burns on her wrist.
Yes.
Because of a week of incarceration.
Right. Like, not the
What
good
does she
kind.
think to herself?
Here
What
we
does she
go.
think?
He's undressing in his room, believing her to be asleep, maybe. Brenna scanned the man's features with eyes that seemed almost possessive. Her eyes? Were her eyes seeming possessive? Or like his eyes? Let me read it
She's
again.
thinking to herself, my
that
eyes
her
look
own
so
eyes
possessive.
are possessive?
I don't know.
Brenna, this is her perspective. Brenna scanned the man's features with eyes that seemed almost possessive. My eyes have never seemed possessive to me before. Anyway, a man displeasing to look upon she had never seen before. Long, wavy hair of a golden color curled about exceptionally wide shoulders. The nose was long and straight, the chin firm and smooth. The strong, bare arms were corded with thick muscles. By the way, if I had $1 for every time somebody was corded with thick muscles in this book, I would have like maybe $30. Okay.
Yeah.
As were the broad chest and back, muscles that rippled and danced with each movement. Blonde curls covered the chest, ending in a tight, flat abdomen. Narrow hips led to strong, tapered thighs. The whole body spoke of strength and power. It was superb, marred only by a few minor scars in the lower torso. Such a body was a dangerous weapon in itself. Brenna felt a strange and unknown sensation course through her. It's like she has not found a man sexy yet in this book. But that is what happens when he walks in.
Yeah. Well, and meanwhile, once again, not capable of critical thinking, because after a week of them being like, this guy's going to come back soon.
Garrick's coming.
We're waiting for Garrick.
You belong to Garrick. This is his room. In fact, you're sleeping in his room.
Right.
This guy comes in, starts taking off his clothes.
He is the only man who has entered that room yet, and
Yes.
she is shocked to find out it's Garrick. Shocked.
Yeah, because she thinks Garrick is going to be terrible, like every other Viking she's seen. And because he's handsome, question mark? Again, like every other Viking she's seen.
It's true.
She's like, oh, this is Garrick? Oh, ooh, swoon.
Oh, flutter.
Yeah, what a warrior.
He goes to come.
Like, you're just laying there. I'm sorry. He, all she's done is like, I will avenge my escape. Your precious Garrick will spill his blood onto the
I'm gonna
blah,
slit
blah,
his
blah,
throat.
Heloise, whatever. He takes his all his swords off. He's sword, clang, all on the floor. Blam, blam, yeah, hammer, whatever the fuck. And she's just like there on the bed, just looking at his like dick or whatever.
Right.
Brenna,
Those corded muscles.
get you that sword. Get
Right.
that sword.
Clang,
Stab
clang,
him in the abdomen. It's the middle of the night. Run out
Aaron.
the fucking house. Get in a boat and start
Aaron.
rowing.
Aaron,
Yes,
she
Melody.
cannot mar such a beautifully corded abdomen.
Exactly. That is the
could
problem.
she?
She was like, I was going to escape and avenge my family, but abs.
Abs. Yep.
There's no dick yet, but we'll get there.
There's no dick. Okay, so he goes to get into bed, and she jumps up like a spider monkey. And
Runs around
he
the bed,
speaks-
grabs his sword, runs him through.
nope, that's not what
Gets
happens.
a coat. Goes out. Gets
No.
in one of the boats. Row,
I love that
row,
you're
row.
looking at your Kindle as
Gets
if you're reading.
Cordella.
You're not.
You know
That's not
She
what
doesn't even
happens.
have to get Cordella.
She's certainly not
She
going to
low
get
crawls
Cordella.
into that Viking house. She slits Anselm's throat.
He's never going to be eager again.
And then maybe she gets attacked by Vikings, but she doesn't care because all she lived for was the vengeance of her family
That's
and
right.
honoring.
She dies a warrior's
she
death.
dies
That's not what
like a
happens.
warrior.
What happens
Is
instead...
that not what happens? Does she just fuck this guy until she's happy? Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
she gets raped a few times first, and then
That's
she
what I'm
learns to
saying.
like it.
Does she just fuck this guy until she's happy? Is that what happens? And
Yeah.
who the hell cares about Enid and Cordella?
Oh, boy. So, he speaks English to her,
Mhm.
and they fight about whether or not she's a slave. Like, there's so much catty, petty fighting between them from the beginning that it's just like, she's just like, I'm not your slave. And he's like, no, you really are, though.
You are my slave. I am not
super
your
are?
slave, but you are. It's like so bratty and so like not understanding the gravity of the situation here.
No, not at all. So then, also he speaks English because first of all, his mom taught him and only him, which, okay, did not ever teach Hugh because Hugh apparently as the first son had to be real Viking.
She wasn't allowed to spend time with Hugh, is what I understood. Because
Yeah, sure.
if sons spend too much time with their moms, they're considered lame.
Not Vikings. Oh, and then he also got captured on one of their raids, and he was taken prisoner for like a year. So he really brushed up on his English then.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know that yet. So she tries to fight him about sleeping in the same bed. She's like, I'm not going to sleep in this bed with your smelly, hot body.
Yeah.
And he's like, I mean, you can sleep on the floor, but I don't think you're going to like it. And so she's like, oh, fine. I guess I'll sleep on the bed.
Yeah.
Jeez. How dare you?
Also, like, she jumps from the bed. Like, she just seems like such a, like, fairy nymph. Or, like, there's some kind of mythical
She's a
creature. I don't know
monkey.
what it is. Yeah.
She's part spider monkey.
But it was like, he was like, oh, yeah, like, you're such a warrior. You haven't even tried to escape yet. And she was like, I was tied up with a rope. And he's like, yeah, right. And then she jumps like a cat from the bed and lands facing him, feet apart and arms akimbo. Like, first of all, arms akimbo 15 to 50 times in this book.
Yeah.
It just means her hands are on her hips. I Kindle referenced it. Anyway,
is that what that means?
Yes. So it's
interesting. I'm sorry. Every time I read that,
you thought it was like a starfish?
She was flailing. Me too. No, she was like flailing.
Me too. And like time number 5, I was like, okay, I don't have time to do this, but I guess I'll look this up. At like 3 a.m. when I was reading this, I was like, fine, I'll you forced me, Joanna, to look up what fucking akimbo means. And it means her hands are on her hips. But it's like she jumps out of the bed, lands, hands on her hips and feet apart, and she's like, I am Brenna, and I will not be told.
Peter Pan!
It is such the lady playing Peter Pan. And think about that first chapter where she's like, swoosh, swoosh. I am but a girl. It's like, this is not... It's like she's playing... I don't know what the right mythical creature is. Guys, if you've
She's Peter Pan. No, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
She's Peter Pan. She doesn't deserve mythology, Aaron.
Sorry.
She is Peter Pan.
Okay.
I don't even think she deserves Peter Pan. He's too pure.
No, that's what I just like. It's some kind of like just stupid creature.
She's like
it's just like, I tricked
sprite.
you.
Yeah.
And like, it's not sexy or brave or cool.
So the next morning, Yarmul wakes her up, and Yarmul only speaks Norwegian. I don't know. I meant to look it up, and I forgot.
I thought she said early that What's-His-Fuck was teaching her Norwegian. Oh, by the way, that old Viking, he was fucking killed by the Vikings too. The one that was teaching her the language. Yeah, the old man. Anyway, he said Norwegian, I'm pretty sure.
No, yeah, but that's one of the things in the book. She says to herself, I am going to play at being a spy master. So what I'm going to do is not tell anybody that I speak Norwegian. Not a terrible plan.
No.
Except for the fact that literally everyone who's getting very quickly boned by Anselm the Eager also knows you speak Norwegian.
Right.
Like, you don't think it's going to come up ever?
Well, and also, like, bitch, you don't need to speak Norwegian to, like, know where the boats are at. You got here on a boat. Just walk down the hill.
They're much bigger boats, Aaron. Like, this is one thing that I don't think...
didn't fucking rode her here on his own, did he not?
On a different boat? He took that boat away. But I bet she could go to the village, get herself a boat.
I am sure
small boat.
There is a assortment of boats. They're Vikings.
Yeah.
You don't need to conceal your Norwegian-ness to figure that out.
So, Yarmul's like, you need to stay in the sewing room. And she's like, I don't do lady chores because it's beneath me, because ladies suck and I am better than a lady.
Oh, God. Her, like, I will not do women's work bullshit because she's better than a lady.
Made me so angry.
It upset me.
Made me so angry.
Upset me a lot.
How dare you?
I know.
Women's work is hard and worthwhile, and how fucking dare you?
And then she uses this excuse of like, well, I don't know how to do women's work because I was raised as a boy. And then at some point, Garrick is like, I thought your dad was like training you to be my wife or whatever. He didn't teach you women's work. And she's like, he taught me women's work, but I don't know how to do it because I was raised as a boy. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Nope. Okay. So Brenna decides to not stay in the sewing room. She goes outside to the stables. She talks to the old stable man, Aaron. He's old. He's also a Celt slave. And he's very proud of being a Celt slave. He's been one since Everdom.
Loves it. Dream of his life.
Dream of his life.
Just like he's realized every goal he's ever had.
He has. He's got good masters who he
loves Garrick.
adores.
Super loves Garrick. I am treated well. Garrick is an ambitious young blood trying to make his way in a hurry, but he's a fair master to us all.
That's right.
Okay, Aaron.
So, good.
Good.
Now, she asked if it would be cool with him if he helped the horses, as long as Garrick said it's okay. And he's like, yeah, cool. But stay out of sight until the feast is over, because everyone's in the mood for some raping.
Yeah.
On tables and stuff.
Yeah, and he says, hey, you need to stay out of sight, because Garrick is a very generous man. He's so great, you guys.
He's so generous.
He's so generous, but like also with his slaves, he's like, you guys can fuck whoever, all the slaves. I'm so generous. Peas, onions, rye for your bread, slaves.
He considers his men taking pleasure from his household staff as a part of hospitality.
Yeah, mi casa, su casa. Like,
whoa.
Go for it. So Aaron tells her this, and then she gasps, appalled, and says, you cannot be serious. And it's like, bitch, have you not heard all your friends get raped?
Yeah.
Night after night on the ship.
Night after night.
And like here and
over
like
and over and over
all the
again.
time, everyone's always telling you this. How are you just now figuring this out 24% into this book?
You don't remember their, what was it? Their
fearful wailings?
Wails. That's the one.
Yep. No, because she tuned it out. She was like, la, 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 la.
Okay. So at the feast, Dad tells Garrick all about Brenna. He's like, she fought and she did this and nobody really believes it. And then Janie brings her food in the sewing room and he comes in, and this is when she says that they don't do women's work because it's beneath her. And he also notices her identifying him as a sexy man.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, she says, I don't remember why I have this note, but she says, you don't own me, but I know who's master here.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like how instantly attracted to her he is. Good.
All
fine. Right.
Whatever.
So she goes down in the afternoon because everyone's forgotten to feed her again.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets spotted by 2 rapists. Mm-hmm. So they come. I'm so sorry, you guys.
And we're not laughing. It's just
exhausting. I'm exhausted.
Yes, it really is.
So they go to start their favorite thing. And they grab her, and then she grabs one of their knives, and she starts like backing away like a cornered gazelle. And then there's like this whole fight that happens kind of, and then she finally moves into sight to where Anselm is like, oh, hey, you fixing to rape that one right now?
She's a hard one to rape.
Yeah, she makes it real difficult. So I don't really know. And then she creates this whole commotion. And then when everybody in the hall sees, she tries to, through Heloise, because she can't speak Norwegian, she tries to challenge Anselm to a fight. And Heloise is like, they don't fight women, they just rape them.
Yeah.
So I am not going to do that.
When they fought you back there, they thought you were a man. And
right?
A really bad at fighting one.
Yeah. So then she's screaming about all the things he's done, and she's talking back to Mama Viking. And then Garrick sees her. He like comes into the doorway, and he is about to punish her in front of everyone. He's about to whip her or something, beat her to a pulp. And Mama Viking's like, don't do that. Don't kill the spirit of this beautiful creature. And she's like, I felt the same way when I first arrived, but I was won over by love.
Oh,
Mama Viking. She loves that quick fucking. He's so eager. Oh yeah, so then he takes her upstairs, and when she's in his room, God.
Can I interject here a little bit about
sure.
the other slaves?
Uh-huh.
A couple of the other slave girls were like, hey, we're trying to do our chores, but also we're like getting these guys coming in and raping us all the time, and so like we're doing our chores into the night. Like they're complaining to Brenna about like basically time management because of all the men that are taking their pleasure from them.
Yeah, they're like, Janie specifically says, I'm so sorry I forgot to feed you. I just had a train run on me.
Yeah.
So now I have to come cook this meal.
Yeah,
because
I have all these chores, all this cleaning and stuff to do.
Oh my God.
So Brenna she's just chilling out upstairs. Like she's literally doing nothing except for waiting for what's-her-fuck to bring her food.
Well, because she's in the sewing room and the only thing that's in there is women's work and it's beneath her, so she can't do anything.
It's like, it doesn't even cross Brenna's mind to be like, while I'm up here, is there anything I can do to help you out? I'm also a slave. Is there any, like, if you give me, like, pledge and a rag, like, I can wipe down these rocks for you or whatever it is that you do here. And she's just like, oh, man, that sounds like it. No, she doesn't even say that sounds like it sucks. No. She's just like, when will the food be, though?
Yeah, she's like, but I'm hungry, though. Yes. Did you hear that gurgle? I heard the gurgle.
Anyway,
you had
I just
to
wanted
have
to
heard the gurgle.
Highlight how shitty Brenna is. Okay, so they go.
She's so shitty.
And after this fight in the feast or whatever with the thing, don't they let her keep a knife?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Here's what happens. He takes her up to the room, and here we go. It says, when she's in his room, he grabs her up, takes the knife, and throws her on the floor.
Yep.
She charges, but then she stops when she notices a giant wolf on the bed. And then she leaves him with his dog, capital D. His name is Dog.
Okay. I missed where the knife got taken away from her.
Yeah. So, all right. So the guests are gone now. He brings her up food himself. And he's like, we're going to talk about your new life and you're going to get happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, he's like, I don't like the way you're calling me Viking. It sounds like a curse on your lips. Mm-hmm. So she's like, well, I'm not calling you master. And he's like, well, I have a name. You can call me Garrick. And she's like, okay, well, you can stop calling me mistress and you can call me Brenna.
Mm-hmm.
Aww. Like, I want to be excited that the Duke told her to use his first name, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't you once say that was like your special kink was...
It's not anymore. That kink has been killed. The kink is dead.
Thanks.
So, okay, so he's like, you're going to do women's work like the other slaves. You're going to sleep in their quarters. You're going to be a slave, Brenna.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I'll work with the horses. And he says, no, absolutely not. They fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, all right, I'm going to show you your play. Oh, God. Oh, see, it's so casual that I forgot this is where it happens.
Yes.
So he's like, I'm going to show you that you're a slave, so I'm going to beat it out of you. And then she's like, instead, I'm going to zippity-doo-dah my way past you and grab the knife and wave it at you a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so then he says to himself, beating is obviously not going to work because she doesn't look scared at all. Instead, what I'm going to do is ominously start unbuckling my belt.
Ominously.
And she's like, what you doing with that belt? Are you going to like hit me over the back with it? Because that'd be cool. And he's like, oh, no. It's about to get raping in here.
Yeah.
And what do you have the actual quote? Because I have
it somewhere here. Sorry.
God, he literally says, beating is not going to work, and so I'm gonna dominate you in other ways.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first he gets the knife away and he smacks her around a little bit. So I think
he does hit her real good on the face.
Yeah, she is bleeding from the mouth at this point.
Yeah, but she still has like fire in her eyes. She doesn't care that he hit her.
So he's unbuckling his belt ominously, as you said. She says, what are you doing? He says, he smiles, first of all, and says, disrobing. Then a cruel smile touches his lips. Her eyes widen. You would beat me without your clothes on? She asked incredulously. Nay, mistress, he said coldly as he finished with the garters and removed his soft skin boots.
Oh, God.
I have decided to deal with you differently. How? He crooked a brow at her. 'Tis obvious, I would think. I will master you in the one sure way a man dominates a woman. I will have you.
Ugh.
She stares at him a long moment before the meaning of his words became clear to her. For the first time, this is from his perspective, for the first time real fear entered her eyes. The color left her face and she took a step backward. So...
And then...
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah. No, go
Garrick
ahead.
watched Brenna with a puzzled frown. He saw the conflicting emotions that crossed her features. But what surprised him was the terror in her eyes. She who had shown only courage thus far, she had stood defiantly awaiting a sound thrashing, but now she cowed at the prospect of his betting her. Such a dramatic change was baffling. This book really takes the stance that rape is not as bad as, like, getting hit.
Right. Well, except that he's like, you're obviously not scared of me, so I'm going to do the one thing I know will, like, hurt you to your core.
Right.
It's so weird because on the one hand, it's treated with such casual, just so casually.
It's like,
and then on the other hand, all of the characters really, really know the brutality that's involved in even the least violent sort of rape. You know what I mean? Like, they know that it's the one thing that can shred a person down to their soul. And they're still just like, I just feel like, you're a slave, so, like, we should get to the raping.
Well, it's more like, to me, it's like he knows that this is the thing that might break her. But at the same time, he's like, it's just sex. Sex is pleasurable. And they don't, it doesn't work for me in the same.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
He can't think both things.
No.
He can't think this is the way that I will, like, beat her to submission, but then also be like, it's confusing that at the prospect of making love to me, I don't know. It was just,
I know.
Very weird. But then he's correct in that she shouldn't have been scared because.
Oh, guys, wait. No, wait. So he goes after her. She fights him like a spider monkey.
Yes.
And he's like, why are you running away from me like you're a scared virgin? And she's like, I am a scared virgin. And he's like, no, you spent like a week traveling with my dad, and I know what the overnights involve. You know what I mean?
They love raping.
They love raping.
Like, there's no way you're a virgin. And she's like, no, they didn't rape me.
Yeah. Anselm kept them away from me. And he's like, oh, I bet my dad kept you for me.
Ugh.
And he says, he'll be gentle with her. And she's still fighting with all of her might. But then, of course, as Aaron alluded to, by the end, like, so she thinks to herself, it's painful at first, and then it stops being painful, and she's like, where is the horribleness that Cordelia told me about? I mean, I guess the one way this makes sense, it's like when I got my ears pierced. Wow, that's not, just hear me out. Just stay with me.
No.
Please.
Melody.
No, stay with me. I didn't mean it like that.
They're not going to listen to us anymore.
Fuck, that's not what I meant. But what my mom did, she was like, man, it's going to hurt so badly. It's going to be terrible. Are you sure you want to do this? Blah, blah, blah. And so when the first one was done, I was like, oh, that's it? Like, sure, do the other one. So I think that's sort of
Cordelia playing up the pain.
Yes. Made it a little bit more okay for her because she was expecting like the rack kind of a situation. She was expecting the medieval Spanish Inquisition boot. Or the pear. Oh God, the pear. But what she got was, well,
even when he's like starting to have sex with her, she's like, God, like even before it happens, she's like fighting him, but she's also thinking like, ooh, his iron muscles rippling is corded, blah, 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 like such a powerful body, blah, blah, blah.
I know. I don't like it.
And she's like, please release me. And he's like, nay, 'tis too late for that. But she's also like, I don't know. It's just, it's so difficult to read. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. So then, wait, and also, just to make sure we both caught this, because I know you didn't mean it like that. You did not mean he starts to have sex with her. You meant he starts to penetrate her. Yeah, but there is a difference.
It's interesting because from her, it's very much referred to as making love for the rest of it. So it's confusing to talk about because it's hard. I know. But like the description of this thing is like he smooches her a couple times, then he forces her legs apart, and then his dick is described as a battering ram, breaking through her fortress wall, tearing her flesh so that she felt a stabbing white hot pain.
I don't like it.
But then he keeps going, and then she gets into it a little bit, and then she's like, why did you stop?
Oh my God. And then, wait, you guys, wait. Oh my God. And then she thanks him for teaching her so much.
Yes.
And she vows revenge on Cordelia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which she thanks him. And then she says to herself, you know what? Cordella honestly did her a favor. Cordella, if she hadn't been ready for this to be like the torturiest chamber, I honestly think it would have been worse for her mentally. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Maybe.
I don't know if that makes sense. I'm so mind fucked right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
I hate it. It's not sexy.
The
it is not
descriptions
sexy.
of rapes are a little bit. I mean, he does backhand her and stuff. It's like, and the first one had a knife, I guess, but it's not. I don't know how to say it. When I read a very colorful, vivid, I guess, description of a sexual assault in a book where the woman is afraid and there's a lot of emotion, where it's like, oh my God, you're putting yourself in her position. Yeah. And it's so horrible. That sticks to me a little bit for the rest of the day. And that's like when we talk about triggering, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
I feel like these are a different animal to read because I don't feel the brutality of it. I feel like just sad for the mindset of the women. Does that make sense? It's not like that passage that I just read about the battering ram and the white hot pain. That didn't bother me all that much. What bothers me is her thanking him afterwards. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to be clear to the listener what kind of description it is. It's not like, oh, he held me down and I struggled and it was the worst day of my life. It's like he held me down and I struggled and it wasn't all that bad. And, I kind of like him.
Aaron.
Yes.
That's only the first one. There are 2 other ones that are like what you said just now. There are 2 other ones.
Yeah.
That are like, it's so, and we're supposed to, the HEA is supposed to be, I want you to be with this dude. I don't get it. Okay. So then let's move on, shall we? So that's over.
Yep.
And the next day, she's talking with the other lady slaves.
No, wait, I can't.
And
wait.
Why?
No, we're not there. We're done with the sex.
Okay, we're done with that. We're done with rape number 1.
Yeah. The first line in the next chapter is, since neither Yarmil nor Garrick was about to tell her nay, Brenna spent the day lazily in the house getting to know the servants. Can you imagine a situation where you're a slave in this house and you're like worked to the bone? You're a slave.
I'm sorry. Janie just says they have a whole conversation here where Janie is like, Janie and Moira ? I can't remember her name, but Moira's like, I mean, the raping's not that bad, and Janie's like, it's bad when there's like 10 in a row. You have to tell me that your girl parts like hurt the next day.
Yeah.
So I am standing there, just needing some flatbread as my vagina is just swollen and angry and upset.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, this bitch, who I don't think has been touched yet, who I know has been protected up in the house for the rest of the day, is just like, so, tell me all the scoop.
Can you imagine doing your work while she just fucking stands in the kitchen, like, nomming on some crust of bread while you're, like, lifting the heavy pots of the water and, like, carrying them around and, like, I don't know, killing chickens or whatever.
Just scream.
Yeah. And she's just like, what are you guys up to? I'm getting to know the servants today. What's happening? Yeah. I'm a servant too, but like I refuse to do the work, so that makes me special. So,
but like all of this is like super beneath me, so you should do it.
If you guys refuse to do the work, they would murder you guys. But have you seen how perfectly circular my boobs are?
They're so
globular.
Are
circles.
And creamy.
Yes.
Have you seen cream boobs like these?
Yeah. There's something so awful about how she is like revered for her like spunk and courage and refusal to go with the flow, as all of these other people are just like working and being slaves around her. Like I can't imagine the kind of resentment I would have toward
There's none.
Brenna.
They have no resentment
They
toward
love her.
her.
It's just like fucking Douglas. They're like, we're happy to haul this water up the stairs for you every day, Douglas. Like even though none of us have bathed in months.
So we find out that Vikings can't marry slaves, and the only way they can be set free is if you kill an enemy of a clan that's feuding.
Yep.
So we also learn that Garrick was sweet and in love until she ran off with a rich merchant, a fat merchant, too. How dare he?
And he's fat, yeah.
And then he became Garrick the Hard-Hearted. That's what we find out.
Yeah.
So then, I don't know. I know we're only like a third of the way through, but I'm exhausted. Can we be done?
Yes. Yeah.
No, we shouldn't. Let's keep going.
No, I
Let's
thought you were going to stop after the
rape.
sex anyway. We always go faster on the second one because there's so much setup in the first part.
But we haven't gotten to the sex. We've only gotten to the rape. And the next one is like more half and half. We have to get to the next one. Otherwise, we have to get to, here we go. So,
okay.
So she finds out that he has approved her stable position.
Yeah.
And she's like super excited, and she talks freely with a bunch of the other slaves about running away. And Aaron's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because there's like this punishment cell. There's this cell that's just open to the elements under the house. And that's where Garrick puts his slaves because unlike Hugh, he doesn't like to whip people to death in public.
Yeah.
So, maybe you shouldn't do that. And she's like, nope, definitely going to do it because I am a Mary Sue.
I'm better than you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. She's like, if I'm going to stay here, she keeps asking questions about Garrick, and he's like, are you into him or what? And she's like, well, if I'm going to stay here, I want to know as much about Garrick as I can. He's like, if you have no choice. And she goes, I have a choice, Aaron. Don't you doubt it. And it's like, so he's just stayed here for 50 years or whatever because he likes it. Mm-hmm. Well, he does kind of like it. It's kind of horrible, but
but he's got 50 years of Stockholm syndrome.
Exactly. Ugh.
And he might have been there since he was a child,
yeah,
too.
That's true,
he might not know anything else. So then, Garrick comes back from his morning ride, because apparently this Duke also does that.
Mm-hmm.
And they banter, and he asks, because she's moved into the slave quarters, and he asks if she likes her new bed. And she's like, yeah, I really like that I don't have to share it with anybody. And he's like, what makes you think that you won't have to share it? And then he smooches her, and it's a smooch she likes, and she puts her arms around his neck and smooches him back, and they have a stable smooch, which has worked way better for me in other books.
And she says, are you going to take me right here with Aaron right there? And then he is like, and fucks off, and she's like, Brenna wins this round. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then she likes the stables. Time is passing. Oh, Aaron lets her go for rides daily.
One tidbit. She gets to go ride a horse for an hour a day.
How dare she?
Nope.
I mean, granted, they try to say over and over again that because it's just Garrick, it's not like a bunch of work. And so the other slaves do have time off when there's not like
That's
raping
not what
feast.
I'm concerned about.
What?
Are you planning that escape, Brenna?
Yeah, I know. Are you not scouting the territory?
For an hour a day now where no one's even looking for you. Ride far away. Hide in a tree or whatever. Oh, God.
She's not even scouting. Here's the best part.
Yeah.
So one day, she's out on her pleasure ride, and these two guys come out of nowhere, and they take her off her horse, and they pull her dress apart in front.
Listen, we don't need to. This is one that's described scarily, but they don't make it.
Well, because he's not the hero.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys start to. It's a very Outlander-esque, like right before it's about to happen.
Yeah,
Garrick rides in and saves her.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
I meant that sarcastically because he has also done the same thing.
He's like, "Are you harmed, Brenna?" Like, and comes in and is like, "Are ye harmed?" And like he's like touching her face and stuff, and it's like, was she harmed when you did it the other day? Like,
no,
come on, how is this different, Garrick? Aquamarine eyes.
Because they don't own her, Aaron.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay. Yeah. So then he doesn't talk to her again for the next 2 weeks, and he says that she can't ride anymore because because people might rape her.
Right.
I don't know what's happening. So then, okay, so she's in her quarters and she's bathing. Perrin comes in. He's his best friend. She learns that he is in love with Janie and that they have a son together. She already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Perrin's like, listen, I've got this whole plan where I'm going to ask my best friend if I can buy Janie as a slave so that she can be my slave and we can be in love, master and slave.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, well, I don't have any respect for a man who would like abandon his child or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's like, well, no, because I'm not sure that Garrick will say yes because he's been so hard-hearted lately. And if I ask him once and he says no, I can't ask him again. It's a whole thing. So then she threatens to hurt him if he touches her.
Sure.
And he's like, wasn't gonna? Remember that time I told you I was in love with Janie? And she's like, well, I'll also tell Janie if you touch me. So think of that. And he's all good-natured and nice and he leaves.
Wait, but first...
Yeah, first.
She tells him about how she doesn't do the woman's work and she doesn't do shit. And, like, she's pretty much one. And, like, she's just chilling out in some hot water right now. And, like, she's totally tamed Garrick instead of him taming her. Yeah, he says,
oh, it seems that he's tamed you. And she's like, nah, man, I tamed him. So then, Perrin lets that slip in a scene where they chat and it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. Because Perrin says to Garrick, hey, this bitch was like having a spa day upstairs and says she's tamed you and like she doesn't do shit.
Right.
And all she does is go ride her horses all day. And then Garrick gets like a bee in his bonnet and he's like, she tamed me? Well, guess who's doing woman's work now? Stables are a no.
Yep. Well, guess who I'm going to rape into submission. So then he abducts her from her room and takes her up to his. And he says that she's going to do the woman's work or she won't leave the room.
Right. He's going to keep her in the room. He's not going to feed her until she does sewing.
No, he will feed her. He feeds her with his own hands.
I thought that he said he wasn't going to feed her.
No, that's later.
Oh, sorry.
No, he threatens her with starvation later,
oh,
Aaron.
Sorry.
God.
Sorry. Is anyone still listening?
I don't know. So then, he says that they'll share a bed, but he's not going to touch her. And then, she wakes to him doing a grope and is super into it. And so she like turns over and she's like, are you going to take me again or whatever? And he's like, I was thinking about it. And she's like, you know, maybe I wouldn't hate it this time. So they have sex. It still feels like a rape at first.
Yeah.
Like it still does. Cause like there's no opportunity for her to say no. She's just like, yeah, I guess we could do this.
It is kind of fun reading a sex scene from 1980, though, where it's like quivering and like members and like all of those words.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's like literally heaving bosoms and like her like vulva is quivering. Which, anyway, okay.
And his member is whatever. Yeah. So, okay. So then he finishes because he doesn't believe in foreplay and he also doesn't super care if she comes. Even though he's like one of those dudes who thinks it's like magic. That like his penis will just bestow upon her an orgasm at the same time he orgasms. She teases him. She's like, why are you stopping? And then he sort of keeps going. And then that's when she comes. And then they snuggle and he loves it.
Yeah.
And he thinks he needs to be more careful because he could see losing his heart to her. And he doesn't do that anymore.
Right.
So that
on
is
that
the sex
happy note.
That is not on that.
That's the happy note you wanted to get to before we ended the episode.
It is. We're here, everyone.
We did it.
We've arrived.
You guys, we did it.
We're over it now.
Yay! Crossing the finish line.
Yeah, we're only in chapter 17 of 50. 49?
But it is 40% of the book.
Yep. Okay.
Did you guys listen to this episode? Hey, listener, you still around?
I would not blame you if you fucked off.
Somebody definitely wrecked this to us to just be an asshole. Somebody was like, tee fires of winter.
No, that's not. Yeah, so somebody was like, I really want to hear your take on a legit bodice ripper. I don't have a specific one to give you, but I've heard that like Johanna Lindsey is the route you should go down. And so we did our own research and we Aaron, did? Do you remember?
That's what we did?
Yeah, I did. Because do you remember way back when I was like, maybe we could do a book that includes a pregnancy so that I can announce my pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
This was one of the things that was on the list. Can you imagine doing this episode and then being like, also, guys, I am pregnant and it was consensual?
usually have to say that.
Am I laughing or am I crying? I honestly don't know.
Guys, if we said anything that was personally offensive or triggering
so
to you, we're so sorry. I mean,
it's not.
We
I'm
didn't
so
mean
uncomfortable.
Send us an email if you
Please.
want, but just please also know that we're just trying. We're trying to. We were just trying to get through.
I'm
this
so
book.
sorry.
Please know, I'm certain that nothing we said is offensive as the actual text of this book. I believe that to be true.
God,
I hope that
I'm
to
so
be true.
sorry. If we did though, no,
Yeah.
please tell us because
Yeah.
I will do everything in my power to make amends.
Yes.
I'm so uncomfortable. I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. Sometimes I'm so sorry.
We did a lot of laughing, and it's not because there were 50 rapes in this book, but it was kind of because there were 50 rapes in this book. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not that we think the subject matter is funny, but it's just like being clobbered with it. You can't have any other reaction. Oh God!
I honestly, I am laughing, but there are also tears streaming down my face right now. So
I don't have any tears, but I am exhausted by this book.
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta go. Erin, do you have a lady love?
I do. David and I went on a date last night and we saw Long Shot with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. And it was a very refreshing, wonderful romantic comedy.
Oh,
extremely
yeah.
feminist, great. It was
lovely.
It was a delight. I found it to be a delight. And that chick that plays the daughter of Jane Fonda in whatchamacallit, Frankie and Grace, is like her chief of staff or whatever, her like number one, her right-hand man.
Oh, I love that actress.
Oh God. And she plays those parts to perfection. She's great.
All right, that's lovely.
Yeah.
My lady love, everyone, is grocery store rotisserie chicken.
Saves lives.
Oh my God. We just had a Costco open up near us, which was like amazing. I mean, it's literally a 5-minute drive and I don't even know what to do with myself. But Jesus.
They have a great rotisserie chicken.
Rotisserie chicken. And it's huge.
Yeah.
And it does save lives.
Yeah.
It's the best. I can eat all the white meat I want and then I can dig into a drumstick and it's just like there. I just heat it up. I don't even have to set it and forget it. Somebody else did that.
Yeah.
It's great. So that is my lady love. Okay, Erin. Where can they find us?
If you ever want to listen to us again,
right?
Please
guys.
subscribe. Also, you can find us on Twitter at heaving_bosoms, on Instagram at heaving bosoms, on Facebook at heaving bosoms podcast, the closed, fun, super fun group that's free except for all your possessions is the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult on Facebook. And Heaving Bosoms Podcast at gmail.com for all of your you offended me about rape emails.
Yes.
And
let me know.
We are serious about that.
I am serious about that.
This episode is high potential for us to have said something that offended somebody, so please email us if we did. And whatchamacallit, is there anything else?
Oh, we have a Patreon. Where fun shit happens. Yeah. We do more books. We do
if you want to hear
movies.
A couple tinglers with enthusiastic consent called Gay Bigfoot Pirates Haunt My Balls. And
I think that's right.
By Chuck Tingle. And what was the one you did?
Bitcoin's in my butt, I think.
A Bitcoin is in my butt and he's handsome. That's what it was. That was a request. So if you need a chaser, head on over to the Patreon. And we also have merch. If you go to Redbubble and type in Heaving Bosoms, you'll see several independent designs that you can get on any kind of merch that you want.
They're so good. Yeah. So keep being a badass.
Oof. You know what? Keep being a badass.
I know. And love yourself as much as you love reading absolutely wonderful books like That Kind of Guy and A Prince on Paper to feel better about the world again. That's what you should love yourself as much as.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That works.
Okay.
Because we didn't say anything funny in this episode. We're sorry.
There was nothing funny.
We're sorry.
Nope.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Be Porn is a podcast about pornography, but it's hosted by two women, so just don't worry about it, okay?
I am Kate, a sex-positive married woman who loves watching porn in the morning.
And I'm Myrna, a former gymnast, a current feminist, and someone who loves masturbating to herself in the mirror.
Each episode, we watch a movie from the top 100 adult films. From farmers' daughters to slutty secretaries, we think about what porn has to teach us, research the history of adult filmmaking, and look deeply at surgically close images of vaginal penetration, then ask ourselves, are we sure this is hot?
If you're looking for sex education, women's empowerment, and compliments on the symmetry of porn stars' butts, then you'll love our podcast, There Will Be Porn. And if you don't trust us, trust someone with a username, a dude with a penis, on iTunes who said, never heard anything like this. Women watch porn too? Hell yeah.
You can listen to our podcast at morebanana.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's all audio, so we won't see you there, but you might see UM.
You can find us everywhere on social at There Will Be PRN, because you can't spell out porn on the internet.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.